Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm doing good. It's been a nice weekend, but in spite of all that, I got a lot of. This is probably gonna be a long one. Been learning a lot lately, researching more and more. Um, so yeah, let's just dive right in. I guess kind of the first thing I want to get into is portals. In regards to the Maginot, Betjana, they um, they use portals. I thought I'd heard of them using it in the Meadow project, but recently, sorry, that cough. I learned that they use it quite regularly. I have a buddy out in Colorado who is experiencing this kind of stuff multiple times a week. Um, and yeah, I just kind of want to dive into some of that a little bit. Um, we have alluded to, and there's other people that talk about their Stargate technology, which is also not just place to place, but also dimension to dimension. And like I'm no, but by no means an expert on any of this stuff yet, because it's all so like cutting edge and to us anyway, new and stuff. Uh, and I know from the Millennial Hospitality series that um, through their technology, which for the record is like Star Trek on steroids. A lot of the stuff in Star Trek is in there, but it's like even more so. Like just it's awesome. Like straight up awesome. Um, I'm gonna kind of geek out. Like science fiction is science reality, and even better. Like as cool as the stuff in your favorite sci-fi stuff is, it's all there. It's all accounted for, but it's even better. But we'll save that for later. Anywho, um, so faster than light, they've done that. Range 4 Harry, imagine a guard. Him and Charles Hall talked about this. The Air Force Weather Observer that was used to test between the two governments to kind of build trust and see how they would react and so on and so forth. I can't remember which book it was. One incident he had mentioned that Range 4 Harry had mentioned that they were traveling at 24 times the speed of light and that was like no biggie, you know. So, even that in itself is awesome. But I've been learning a lot about their portal tech lately. Thanks to King Musgrave, and he's been very supportive to the individuals like myself and other people really into the subject and supplying them with just good knowledge, either on his YouTube channel or if you reach out and talk to him, he can give you some solid answers and like I don't want to take up too much of his time, but anywho, um so how this all kind of came about was getting a beverage here. My buddy in Colorado Springs, had already had a lot of Magna/CT profile points happening in his former home. Shadow figures, orbs. One case with an orb, lights flickering, the feeling of being watched, and of course this caught my ear. But he recently moved out of his former house into a new apartment with his son, and he mentioned to me smelling sudden sulfur smells, and a lot of people with so-called ghost encounters have mentioned this, and he asked me like, is something going on with that? So I talked to Ryan Musgrave Evans and sent him an email. Is that a CT cryptoterrestrial profile point? The sulfur smells, and he said, yeah, it was. Sulfur or rotten poultry or rotten fish is an atmospheric side effect of the portals they use. Something when it rips open, it creates this stench. And here's where it gets super interesting. Like, there's different size portals for obviously different size objects or different size individuals or different size groups of individuals. So if a single individual Maginot, which is like a 6 foot tall human, Homo Orionis, our descendants, blah blah blah. It sounds like a whippersnapper, like a snap, like you throw those little white little dudes on the ground in 4th of July. That's not. That's like a 70% approximation, and that's a small portal. Like small, and then he had recently mentioned the king, the guru, Ryan Musgrave Evans. The only guru I know about. I'm sure there's others that have security clearances and stuff like that. That a medium-sized portal is sounds more like a crash, like something falling, like something crashing or falling over, and that is a portal that is the size of, not the size of, but contains multiple individuals transferring through at once. And my buddy hasn't experienced that yet, but an even bigger portal is a boom, and that's one of their ships or anti-gravity craft, as like I say, because I don't use that UAP or UFO because we ranted on that earlier because like we're smarter than that. We know these are ships that I'm ranting on now again because I hate it. Defy gravity. The government likes to think we're stupid and says, oh, it's an unidentified aerial phenomenon. We don't know what it is because we don't want to admit that we're stupid idiots, or we don't want to admit that something's better than us. Anywho, we'll say that for later. Anti-gravity craft comes through. It sounds like a boom. So, anywho, my buddy out in Colorado Springs has been experiencing this, and he also had other key CT profile points, shadow people, at least on one occasion, flickering lights, objects being moved around, and then returned. And yeah, so basically, kind of what I just went on is the types of different, just kind of some basic descriptions for their portal tech, and it seems they use it quite a lot. And I knew they had Stargates that had a longer range, Sorry, I'm cracking my teeth tonight. And we're even extra dimensional as far as traversing timelines. Sorry, disgusting. At least I'm authentic. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was a tonsil stone. Whatever it was, taking care of. Sorry. So, anywho, that's like part one of this. Part two is, well, I don't even know what part two is, but I'm just going to keep talking, and then I'll label these parts as I see fit. So, the Maginot, with their technology, as I said before, and Sabetchina, any of these dudes that are like at least tens of thousands of years extra-dimensionally more advanced than us, it runs circles around us. And it's like I said, it's like Star Trek on crack. So, yeah, where am I going with this? Oh, yeah, they can read our thoughts. They can read our emotions. They can answer questions before we've even finished asking it, because that's just how fast the tech works. And And Charles Hall, like Charles Hall, a lot of read his books, but he kind of theorized that's their nervous system, which very well could be. But I also think it's it's the tech. They're these helmets that have abilities to just scan and analyze, but they can tap into our memories, read our whole life. They can read our dreams. Millennial Hospitality, I believe it was the teacher and her daughter, Playful Butterfly, um, later theorized to be by Ryan Musgrave Evans as just Butterfly because he's met her too as more of a young adult or closer to an adult. But they had theorized, anywho, I'm losing track here, but they were able to uh, monitor his dreams even. I mean, it's a little creepy, but like, think about 52,000 years of extra evolution, of extra advancements. Who know, anything's game at that point. And so, anywho, we're getting to the point here eventually. But oftentimes when Maginot, this is like so Star Trek, but more. When they interact with people, it's done in a way they're so subterfuge, so stealth. It disguises their identity. They have such powerful, say, hypnotation, mesmerization. It's called like glamour. For instance, Ryan Musgrave Evans had incidents where he thought he was talking to people because Maginot had displayed themselves as a person, but he was actually talking to them, and the only reason he had a clue of what was going on is because they levitated him back to bed at the end of the so-called incident. And he's also talked about times of where it was quite a dreamlike state where he was sleeping and there was no, at least to him, no obvious levitation or transference, but a pure, he was sleeping. It was like a dream, and it was a gray area. It was hard to tell the difference. Is this a dream or is this an experience? So where we're getting to is, I had that last night. It's rubbery because I've never ever had a dream quite like that, and one could argue that, like, well, you're dreaming what you're passionate about, you're dreaming what you're interested in, and yeah, I am. But like, and this isn't as cool as my first CE5 contact, but as far as being like extremely anomalous occurrence, but it was extremely captivating nonetheless. So in the dream, I'm in my house with my girlfriend, and all of a sudden there appears a person from my past that I hadn't seen in over a decade, pretty much, close to a decade, sitting on the floor in the bedroom. And I asked, Mike, do you see that person? And I had my suspicions in the dream that it was like, I think only I can see that person. And there are cases where the Maginot can adjust perception, so only that person only select individuals can see what is actually happening there. And you kind of point out, hey, can you see that? And in this dream, I'm like, do you see that person over there? And they're like, no. And this person to me was like extremely real. And so I went in the dream to take a picture of this person, and then like the lights flashed when I did, and then I looked at the exposure on the iPhone, and it was like all messed up. So, and then it goes on from there. But like I had these. Then at that point in the dream, I had realized, yeah, at least in my opinion, in the dream, that's a P-52 Orion. That's a Maginot. That's a glamour. That's a disguise for someone to interact with me. And I'm all over the place here, but realize that some of these disguises came about in the Eisenhower era due to treaties made with Eisenhower that they would not openly reveal themselves. And they're very loyal to their word, and they'll find ways to skirt around it. But so in this dream, basically, there kept being recurring different disguised characters of different people. Some I knew, or some I didn't know, or some were just like, one was a pillow with a smiley face, and they would come and talk to me, especially when I wasn't around people. But one thing that really struck me, like I said, I can't confirm this because it was a dream, but they're so advanced they can infiltrate anything. Like they accessed my mind, perhaps, and I was at my current job, which is like a service maintenance cleaner dude at a FedEx warehouse, and that's what I'm doing to make money right now. And this person asked me, so why did you choose this job? And it wasn't meant in a condescending, oh, you're just a blue collar piece of crap. It was their playful, curious, just genuinely, I want to know about you, and that struck me as very much a signature of them. You hear Charles Hall talking about when they were in his barracks, and they're talking about things of, so what do we do next? What's the next adventure? It was carefree, it was playful, it was happy, and it was just like, I want to get to know you kind of vibe in my dream. And like I'm saying, dream, it's way more gray area rubbery than my CE5 thing. But then there was other instances where I would ask them questions and they would not give me straight answers. Like, they would playfully dance around it, and kind of imply I was in the right track, but it was more like, no, Jeff, you're smart enough to figure this out. Figure it out. You'll be better for it. And both, Ryan Musgrave Evans and Charles Hall, there's other experiencers as well, but that kind of really that matched just so much of how they interact, and I could see it could be my subconscious mind making all this stuff up. But anywho, at one point, I asked, so I've heard tell of a woman named the Teacher. Do you know who that is? And they kind of smiled and says, yeah, we know of the Teacher. And it said something along the lines of, you have come to very logical conclusions about this subject, but you might be disappointed if you meet the Teacher. And like I said, this is just a dream, but I was like, why would that be? And they said, well, she's just another person. And it's like, and I was like, well, I know that, but like, to me, she's a rock star. It's like, she's Eddie Van Halen. So, and there were instances in this dream where in the warehouse they would come up to me like these little running fairies, little beings that were semi intangible. Like they looked like the Orions. I was looking for the hand details of the four fingers and the tiny thumb, and they were pale white, but then they would materialize up from the floor into like a full fledged being. And anywho, this last segment's been kind of a lot of food for thought, but it was definitely a dream with a lot of intent behind the characters in it. And there was a buddy in Colorado, like I said, that I had mentioned, that had been experiencing these things, and I had I had him cast on his TV from his phone my musical tribute to them, where I'm wearing the glyph, and I'm wearing the glyph for Al Nalam on my face, and and he's an experiencer, and I think like I said, I have a friendly email correspondence with Ryan Musgrave Evans, so I think it's not too far of a stretch to say that I've kind of painted a target on my back for them, which for me, it's fine, because my curiosity on this stuff is just blowing through the roof so hardcore anyway that I'm looking forward to the day where we don't need glamour and mesmerization and memory erasing because of some treaty from more than half a century ago. And I think we'll get there, but in the meantime, I'll keep you posted. There's more experiments to come, so have a good night.